Well, I don't have a gavel, so I just, oh, it was hiding. Call the Broken Arrow City Council meeting to order. Roll call, or invocation by Pastor Rich, sorry. I was just ready to go. But first, prayer.
Okay, guys, this is the last prayer for the year. So here we go. Father God, we thank you for the many blessings on Broken Arrow. We thank you for the spirit of prosperity, protection from your divine presence. We look forward to 2026 with expectation and excitement by the work of your mighty hand. May this city put their trust in you. May the leaders put their trust in you. We ask for your spiritual awakening that would go along with the expansion that's happening. May this city become a city of hope, a beacon of light to this state and nation. Please watch over these leaders, their families. Please watch over them and help them make wise decisions, and please give them vision to move our city forward. May every plan of evil be overcome with light. May this Christmas season be filled with joy, hope, peace, goodwill towards men. In the name of your Son, who was born in a manger, may his message of his name Emmanuel, which means God is with us, be so evident in the lives of every person in this city. Amen. Amen. God bless you guys, and thank you on the behalf of the Ministerial Alliance that you let us pray before these city council meetings.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I think it means a lot to him and to this city.
Absolutely.
It means a lot to us, too.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
God bless.
Thank you, sir.
Merry Christmas.
Absolutely.
All right, roll call.
Pickle.
Here.
Green.
Here.
Ford.
Here?
Parks.
Here.
Wimpy.
Here. We have item M that's going to be removed and be.
The pledge.
Oh my gosh, what is wrong? I just am ready to just wrap the whole meeting up. Please stand and join Counselor Pickle for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Attention, salute, pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, now we have item M that needs to be removed and will be back on at the next meeting. Are there any other items to be removed from the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda minus item M. Oh, I'll second that.
Go ahead.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call. All right. There are no public hearings, appeals, presentations, recognitions, or awards. Item 8 is citizens' opportunity to address the council. There is none. Item 9 is general council business. 9A, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of an extension of displaying banners on city-owned light poles at Events Park. Mr. Spurgeon.
Okay, let me get to my RFA here. So we're presenting this to the council this evening. So I just got to step back. I always like to just focus where we started from and where we are. Several years ago, the city council actually implemented a policy with regard to the banners, not only for the downtown, but also in the shops of Aspen Creek. Mm-hmm. And what we found is the partnerships that we formed with several different entities, mainly the Military History Center, and they follow the policy that we have in place. Well, I'm pleased to say that one of the improvements that the council agreed to was actually having banners out in the events park. Mm-hmm. And so we're asking you to amend the ordinance to include those banners to fall under the policy, because obviously the venue team will more likely want to do something, and I see that as an opportunity for our Military History Center. Another example would be is that the mayor and I were speaking briefly today, is we're going to recommend that we do banners for our 250th anniversary of our country, birth of our nation. And so we just want to make sure that all those banners that we use fall within that policy.
Any discussion or question? Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve item 25-1616.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call. All right, 9B is consideration, discussion, and possible approval of the 2026 Go Bond Final Projects Package. Sorry. Shannon and Mr. Spurgeon.
Okay,
Who goes
so
first?
if I can, I will start off. And first off, I want to thank the council for this opportunity to speak again on this very important topic. I also know there are a lot of citizens that are in the audience that have asked for an opportunity to address the governing body. And on behalf of the mayor and council, I'd like to thank all of them for coming out and to be a part of this discussion. It is very, very important meeting for the governing body. And just to reiterate, because I know a lot of people are watching, is that the council decided really almost 2 years ago to embark upon this endeavor to actually present to the voters the next phase of our Build Our Future Broken Arrow bond package. And it's hard to believe that that is going to culminate in just under 4 months, that should council decide to move forward tonight and then ultimately with the appropriate legislation on January 6th, that 2-year initiative is in its final phase, which is probably the most important, which is the public education. And so now that I've shared that, I want to just step back just a couple of weeks. The administration presented to the council on December 2nd the proposed package for the 8 propositions. And the council decided to hold any decision and to allow a 2-week comment period. And during that period, I was pleased to say that we received over 200 comments about the bond package. Council has been provided with that information. If I could summarize what we received, is that there was a raw total of anyone that actually expressed support or opposition to the package, and then there were a number of comments. And there were 3 categories that we included in terms of support, yes or no, or neutral. And we actually had 133 people that actually said that they were neutral this time, which demonstrates that the most important phase, which is the public education phase, needs to be implemented should council decide to go forward. There were 54 comments that were in support of all 8 propositions, and there were 29 comments that were opposed to the 8 propositions. And so I believe that's good feedback. The comments are very specific, but I am a little concerned about a couple of the comments because they seem to be consistent all along the same line of believing that the federal government has something to do with our bond package, when in reality it certainly does not. So presented for you is the feedback, and I wanted to know if you had any questions or comments or wanted to share anything particular that you saw from that limited feedback that we did receive.
Mr. Green?
I'm sorry. Okay. Well, my mic is on. I did have a little bit of time to review those. I was hoping to get those a little bit earlier so we have some more time to spend with those, with the feedback, because it's definitely important to me and I believe for the rest of the council. And I've spent a lot of time, talking to members of the community and listening to them as far as the information put forth here on the package. I even ventured out into dangerous waters and went on to social media and heard some feedback on there and responded to some folks on there as well. So I think there was a good amount of feedback, but I think there also was people who didn't fill out feedback forms that had some strong opinions. Like I said, I've personally talked to several folks, and I encouraged them to go on there and fill out the feedback forms, whether they did or not. I can't tell you because I'm not in their heads. But I'm a supporter of this package. Obviously, I'm a supporter of doing things that are going to better our Broken Arrow. There was one proposition specifically that I've got a lot of feedback on that I want to bring up for discussion and kind of see where we are on it. I know we're trying to finalize it tonight, but with the time that we had, this is, I guess, the best time that I have to do that. So obviously, for those at home, those watching, as a council, we're not allowed to have group discussions unless we're in a public forum. So this would be that opportunity for us to have that discussion unless we call a public special meeting, which would also have to be a public forum. So I'm not sure where the other counselors' heads are on this particular item, but the one that I did want to discuss tonight is the library proposition. I've had a lot of comments on that, and I'll start off by saying, obviously, I'm a supporter of education. I am a supporter of literacy. I'm a supporter of our library systems. I have children who are being educated currently, and my wife is an educator, so I understand that. But some of the concerns that were brought to me as far as that particular proposition goes was the dollar amount going to that. And is it more beneficial to put some of that towards other things in our city, be it roads or, the dog parks or public safety, et cetera. And the other concern was the fact that, and I think I've expressed this before, the fact that and I'm not saying I'm not wanting to give anything to the library, I'll get there, but we also, currently, part of our property taxes go towards the library. So I'm trying to be wise and have this conversation so we can make sure we're making the best decision, to be a wise steward of the people's money, and to support the things that need to be supported here in our community. So I'd like to have a little bit of conversation to see where our other counselors are on this particular item. I know for me, again, I'm not saying I don't want to support it, but I want to hear what any of our other council members have to say, and if anyone else has anything to say on this particular topic. If nobody has anything to say, that's fine too.
Well, I do have. I was just waiting for somebody else to say first. I think that my fellow counselor raises certainly a good point, because the library does have the resources from outside here in Tulsa County, and they do get money from that. But certainly my support of it is not just to the library, but it is for the concept of the library. I think it's important for the city. I didn't know they would have the availability, but have the right to go in and help build whatever they're building $4 million stronger. Now, I voted for $5 million, and they backed that down to $4 million, so $4 million stronger. I mentioned the last time that this last conference we went to, I went on up to Boise, Idaho, and toured their library. It was on a holiday, but yet it was full of people. And I did ask them, where are their books? Because I know that reading is kind of out, if you will. Some of us old people, we still read a lot. And so the young people do also on their computers. But they assured me that their books were on the next level, and they were keeping them, especially their references one. But they were really busy inside there, like the Tulsa Library was when we toured it downtown, with a makerspace, innovation area, places where if kids have questions or something they'd like to learn to do, learn to build, then the library, even at Boise State, in the middle of the holiday afternoon, had staff there to help them do that. So I was just for this, because whatever they were going to build, the library, I wanted it to be $4 million better and do that much more for our youth. And as my fellow counselor said, he has kids. He likes for them to go to the library, as I do my grandkids, like for them to go to the library. Also, the library was a turning point in my life. I never studied all the way through high school. My major was football, and that's what I did. And I wasn't bad. I was pretty good. Probably a B, maybe a B minus, somewhere in there. But when I went to junior college to play football, I found out what a library was and how useful it was. And I started utilizing it, and my grades started coming up. My bachelor's grades came up. My degrees that I got, even after my bachelor's degree, I'd go to the library. Even till today, I go to the library just to relax and go from there. I, at one time, got a law passed when I was a young councilman on a very important issue here in Broken Arrow by going to the Library of Congress. Now, it's a little bit more difficult to get in there, but they were very accommodating. All the information that I needed, they gathered for me in a 2-hour period, and then I came back into the library. They invited me back in, and they had it all in a room for me to go with. So my experience with it is very positive. I know it's changed from what it used to be, but I just feel like that I'd like to see us add that $4 million to make it that much better than it normally would. So I'm in favor of going out and giving them the money as on the bond issue. Very much in favor of it.
So are we saying that it won't happen if we don't give them the money?
I'm
They're
s-
continuing to raise funds, I believe.
Yeah, and I'm saying it won't happen as well. I think it gives them a better opportunity for it to happen if they had the money. I honestly do. I understand certainly what you're saying. I just am very pro library, and even more so after I see how they've modified the library system, and it's not full of books, although the books are there. But my grandkids still go in there. The library gets in touch with them to make sure they do their summer reading. I think they will do that. I just think this would give them opportunity over the years here in Broken Arrow to do a little bit more than they could without it.
I'm definitely in agreement as well, and I understand the concerns as well when it comes to that. I know we've had lots of conversations about learning about how busy that particular library is, how much it's utilized within the Tulsa library system, and when I think about it from just that standpoint, like you were saying, you have kids that still go to the library and things like that. I go back and I think when we're looking at Broken Arrow and having that quality of life for our citizens, do we want to have something that, maybe it is this state-of-the-art library to have, when people are moving in and those types of things, or do we want to say, well, we have a state-of-the-art extra mile of road, and I think there's just much more of a payoff to be able to partner with them for that.
And maybe Kim can address this, but I think regardless of whether we give them 4 million, 5 million, or 2 million, I think it will still happen. It may not happen as fast because we're still collecting property taxes. We still have philanthropists. I don't know, I know they remodeled some libraries in the city of Tulsa. Did they double tax? Did they take property taxes and sales tax? Sure.
Come on down, ma'am.
That was another question that was posed to me. I'm like, I don't know that answer.
Good evening.
Evening.
Should-
No,
What
go
was your
right ahead.
I don't know what your question was,
Oh.
but I do want to say good evening to the mayor, the vice mayor, councilors, and Mr. Spurgeon. I would love to answer your questions before I
Sure.
speak.
So one question is, would the library still happen regardless of the amount given by the
Yeah.
city, whether it's 5, 4, 2, whatever?
Thank you for that question. Let me also, I remember your first question just a little bit ago was about the taxes that the library receives. So the taxes the library receives now is for regular operations. We have 26 locations, 24 public branches, and all of the property taxes from the county go to one pot for all branches. And so the reason why we're asking for additional dollars and the reason why we are in a capital campaign is because that is to keep our libraries consistent with the needs of the community. So the dollars we receive now is not for capital needs. And so that's why we're coming forward. But to answer your second question, I can't say we will move forward. We do have a capital campaign. We opened the Brookside Library in October. We did the 4 libraries in 2 phases. The first phase was the Bronson Brookside Library and then Rudisill Library. The philanthropic community in Tulsa supported that 100%. And so phase 2 is South Broken Arrow and Owasso. We don't have the same level of philanthropic community support in Broken Arrow or Owasso, which is why when we brought this project forward, we was really excited about Mr. Spurgeon's interest in the library expanding, and as well as the council. So the library is not just expanding its building for the sake of expanding buildings. Our library system is one of the best in the country. We ranked 5th out of every public library, including both coasts. And that's because we've been able to keep pace of the needs of what the citizens need. Throughout this 2-year process, what I kept hearing is quality of life. And that stuck out with us because that resonates with what the library does offer. If you have a growing city like Broken Arrow, an innovative city like Broken Arrow, an award-winning city like Broken Arrow, it also deserves a library system that keeps pace with that. So you have, as someone just mentioned, new roads, new spaces, but you have an antiquated library system. So we are building not just a space to expand a space, but we're also building the quality of life of those who use our library. So when you think about the number of people who come to our library, over 50% of them come to our library to fill out an application for a job. Every job is online now. Not everybody has computers, not everybody has Wi-Fi. We offer all of those things as well. In a new library system, we are proposing and will have a makerspace. I've heard through the city of Broken Arrow how much innovation matters, how much technology matters. Well, your library can support that as well. So I think if you took our tour at Central Library, we have a makerspace. And all sorts of things are happening with our makerspace, not just for children. We have a gentleman who needed a car part, a handle for his car. He only needed the small part, but the dealership was asking him to pay for the entire handle for $600. He came to the Central Library, made that same part for $1. So we are equipping people in the technology space. They can do anything they can imagine without 3D printing. So what we're asking for is a library that matches what the direction the city is heading in. And so I'm hoping that tonight that you also feel that this is a worthy endeavor. We are, the total cost is $13 million. The $4 million would go toward construction costs only. The construction cost is $10 million. The $3 million is the library's owner's cost. And so the $4 million would go to the construction. I cannot say that we would go forward with the new library if this does not pass.
And how much is the library used in
Yes.
South Broken Arrow?
So I made a point to bring that with me today. The South Broken Arrow Library is the 5th busiest library. I may have just mentioned that. We checked out over 50,000 books this year, which is 19,000 more books that will fit on the shelves. And then we're on track to hit 855,000 people visiting that library this year alone. So the need is there. Broken Arrowans love their library. I think that's evident by the survey that was also put out to the public. The number of folks, I think it was the largest participant of those who filled out the survey. So we're a literate city. We're an innovative city. This city is moving forward. And we don't want to be left behind in that process. And so I think we have an excellent track record of how we use our dollars. You go to any one of our libraries, they're in best condition. We're ranked fifth in the country because we are innovative. So books are the cornerstone of what we do and what we have. But we're also always looking at the next thing. How can we continue? Because we have a responsibility to those who do provide property taxes to us. We don't just buy books and keep those dollars. We buy books, and we're also looking to see how we can expand to meet their needs.
I think you guys, so you've already opened several locations, which is amazing, so congratulations on the new locations. I know you guys were, I don't know what's going on with my voice, sorry. I know you guys were looking at still kind of maybe tweaking what the plan would be as far as the concept of the new library. Has that changed at all? Would that affect how much it would be that you would need to raise for the library?
At South Broken Arrow?
Yes, ma'am.
No, we pretty much have the plan
Oh,
in
okay.
place to include the makerspace. We have a large homeschool support families. We have about 21 homeschool groups at that library with one meeting room. And so with the new space, we'll have a larger meeting room. We'll have flexible classrooms for those 21 school groups. We also will have a large children's space because we have so many children's families for story time. They are bursting at the seams. Our manager, Kelly McDowell, is also here who can attest to that. So I don't know, space and use I don't think is a question, right?
Okay.
So we can show how busy we are. When the library opened in 1993 at 6,000 square feet, it was too small the day we opened. But the plans we have in place are set. And so we don't plan on changing any. We're pretty much building all of the 4 libraries on the similar model, except for South Broken Arrow will have flexible classroom spaces that no one else has.
I think one of the things that Councilor Green said is that you guys, would you have continued to fundraise to try to reach the difference?
We will have to, because at 13 million, if we were successful tonight and the council's approved the 4 million, we still have a balance to raise. We feel confident in being able to raise those dollars to meet the total goal.
Counselor Green, I appreciate you bringing this to the council where we can talk about it, because you're right, a lot of people think that we can chit chat about this. And I like that you put it on South Broken Arrow neighbors, so you get a lot of input as well.
Yes.
I was raised in the library, my grandkids, my kids, like we all have the library. And I partnered with the library a lot when I worked at the police department on different levels. And I've been in those meetings where alert neighborhood meetings where we have standing room only. We have to take the chairs out because there's not enough room for the chairs and all the people that are in there. Probably broke some fire marshal laws, I'm not sure, but
Surely not.
there's no doubt that there's a need for that. There's
Everybody looks at the fire marshal
and I was
in
like,
the room.
sorry. There's no doubt that there's a need, and I guess what makes me feel the best is that people's going to vote for it. If they want it, then
Right.
they need to get out and they need to vote for it. So it's they're making the decision
right.
we're just making the decision to give them the opportunity to vote for it. And so quality of life is a huge thing for the whole council.
Yes.
And I see that that's a huge piece for our homeschools, and then just every kid
Yes.
and adult. Because when we toured the downtown library, it was pretty amazing. It's not the library when I was young, for sure. So I'm
Yes.
really hoping that we're going to be able to get that quality in our city.
Good.
So I just want to say thank you for taking the time to come up and address these concerns that have been brought forward. Again, like I started out, I said I'm not opposed to the library
Yes.
or to the expansion, but I feel as a counselor, it's my job to bring forth the concerns of the citizens, whether that's a hard thing to do or an easy thing to do. It's my job to do it. So that's why I wanted to bring that up, and I want to give you that opportunity to come up and clear up or address some of those concerns that were out there. That way, when we do continue to go forward in the education phase, et cetera, the information is now available. So, thank you.
Well, may I say thank you, because over these 2 years, This is exactly what the process should look like, to be able to state our case, to take questions and answer them. It has been a very thorough process. I want to thank, again, Mr. Spurgeon for allowing us to go before the public on, I think, 3 or 4 occasions and have those face-to-face dialogue. So I appreciate you bringing it forward as well. So I just want to say thank you all for your team. Also, the city, Mr. Spurgeon, is amazing, and so I want to thank all of them as well. And thank you all for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. I think I had the same, I had heard the same concerns about, well, they receive property tax. I didn't fully understand that the property tax goes directly to operations and would not be going to building this new center, so.
That's an important education piece for our citizens to know too. That'll probably clear up a lot of questions.
Okay.
I love the discussion, and actually I'm making some comments, and so should council decide to go forward with proposition number 7, I mean, the executive director, Johnson, has given a number of items that'll be a part of the public education package about usage, the homeschool, the size, and so forth. And so that's just a part of the public education that whatever council chooses. And, ultimately, I will just say this, council can actually give direction as a total package to say we want to go forward and have legal do all the documentation for all 8 propositions, all 7 propositions, or the council could actually, I believe, vote individual on each proposition, however you choose to do it. But it is good to have a discussion because a lot of people watch the meetings. And so it's great to have those conversations because it's a very important decision for our community. So I was happy with the number of people that actually took the time to review the packet. Obviously, what the feedback said to me is that while there is meaningful support on a number of the propositions, there's still a need, obviously, for additional public education. The council members are going to, as I've said jokingly, is that February and March is going to be full of HOAs, community organizations, and getting out and working with Build a Better Broken Arrow to make sure everyone is well educated. When they go into we go forward into the booth on April 7th. So I think it's very important that we have a very understandable package. And the Kim Johnson, who lives in Broken Arrow and very much cares about this community, has given some great talking points for helping with the public education. So thank you, Kim. So on December 2nd, my office, on behalf of the administration, presented the package. And since then, there have been some suggested changes that either was related to some feedback from the public or feedback from different entities or with my staff, and they relate to 3 different propositions. And it's in the documentation that council has. And what I would like to do now is I would like for Shannon to actually, we can go through the package as extensive as the council would like to. Notwithstanding, I would like to start with the 3 propositions where we made some changes, so council is aware. If the change is not noted up here, everything remains the same as it was as presented on December 2nd. So with that, I turn it over to Shannon.
Thank you all. Good evening, everyone. My name is Shannon Marshall, Special Projects Division Manager. And yes, to continue on what Mr. Spurgeon said, we did receive some additional feedback on some suggested changes from the previous proposed project list presented on December 2nd. So this is kind of more of a narrative response on the changes. Within Proposition 1, 2, and 5, we worked on making any financial project fund changes within each proposition. And then some of the strategy here, once again, is to hit that 70% of project named funds as required by state law. And that is in order to provide a list of projects that we are legally obligated to complete, and then 30% of the funds is what we call unnamed projects. So those are our backup contingency plan. As we have a crystal ball that goes only so far, we can't always predict what happens in the future. So some of the strategy here, as we've redistributed some funds, in particular in Proposition 1 and 5, are to consider what is named versus unnamed, and then 2 additional projects. Under Proposition 1, Transportation, we are suggesting to name a project for widening 23rd Street / County Line Road between Houston and Washington, and we would suggest to add an additional $150,000 to help us reach that balance of 70% named project funds. Part of that, we would remove $150,000 from the unnamed project of the intersection between Tucson and County Line. That's how we changed the funding there. The project add that we are suggesting is based off of multiple citizens' feedback. It is to help do road improvements along Aspen Avenue or 145th between Omaha and Dearborn for a total fund project of $2.5 million. This is a multi-jurisdictional road, so we will be working with our local partners here, City of Tulsa and Tulsa County. We know that there is projected neighborhood growth in the Tulsa side of that area. It's a widely traveled road. We have improvements done at the intersection of Aspen and Omaha, and so this would be looking at making street improvements closer to those turning movements from the residential areas within Broken Arrow. For this project add of $2.5 million, we looked at redirecting and challenging our scope on some of other projects. Item 2A, removing $1.3 million from 37th Street / 209th between Dearborn and Rockford. This was identified as a street improvements, looking at maybe doing a lot of drainage improvements, as that's one of some of the high-risk areas for stormwater, being of its age and built standards or built not to standards. And I know we've had some recent improvements with our streets and stormwater team, so we think we can reduce the funds projected here. Item 2B is redirect funds on Kenosha / 71st between Sycamore and Juniper in front of Rama. This one, we're looking at maybe some additional turn movements there and definitely some sidewalk connectivity. It does have the railroad there, so there's some challenges, but we're going to try to be a little bit more creative in our potential projects with that and reduce that project by $2.5 million. Item 2C is to redirect funds from the grant allocation fund for streets. As a reminder, this was kind of a bucket of money to help when we hopefully receive federal and state grants for potential street and transportation projects that we would match with. And so this would kind of reduce that match fund balance. And then proposed change number 3 under Proposition 1 is to unname the Garnett and Florence intersection project to help achieve that 70-30% ratio of project fund balance. Changes proposed on Proposition 2 for public safety. I know Mr. Spurgeon has worked and you all have met with the local fire union president. And so based off of those discussions, suggested changes is to name Fire Station 9, which once again was in the southeastern portion of city limits. And it is a new station proposed and new crews. And then the change also would be to unname Fire Station 1, which is the suggested relocation of the central fire station at Kenosha and Main Street, and move that closer to the north and the west for increased response times, that direction. The third proposed changes is under Proposition 5, Stormwater. So this is based off of citizen feedback and working with our stormwater division. Some citizens requested additional funds put towards Indian Springs 2nd Edition drainage improvements. There's currently a project under design now to help with some smaller impact drainage improvements, and this would help increase erosion control and just improvements along the channels along at Indian Springs 2nd Edition. Through that, we've looked at redirecting the funds from the downtown drainage improvements, taking away $300,000, as this was also a similar approach of a pot of money to help put forth drainage improvements throughout the square mile between Elm 161st and 9th Lynn Lane, and then Kenosha 71st to Houston within that square mile of our historic downtown. Number 1B for project redirection would be trying to reduce the scope along Aspen Avenue Detention Pond. This project is currently under design, and so we think we can find some strategies there to keep this project fund's scope reduced. Item 1C, the Park Creek Channel improvements, looking at reducing it by $50,000 and working more with our internal crews here to make those channel improvements at our various city parks with our streets and stormwater team and our Parks and Recreation department. Item 1D is to reduce $100,000 out of the unnamed drainage project suggestion. And then because of that, once again, 70 to 30% ratio out of the downtown drainage improvements. Previously, we had proposed downtown drainage and Rose District drainage, and we combined those into one singular downtown drainage improvement fund, but we would separate it as $700,000 suggested to be named and $500,000 is suggested to be unnamed. So those are all the changes proposed. It's a little easier to see in the suggested graph here, or list, table, excuse me. The changes are highlighted in red, showing the total suggested change values and or the named versus unnamed. So on Proposition 1, transportation, we have County Line Road between Houston and Washington at $2.95 million suggested to be named. And then adding in Aspen between Dearborn and Omaha at $5.3 million suggested to be named. And then we have Kenosha between Sycamore and Juniper at $2.5 million suggested to be unnamed, and reduced project funds, and then grant allocation, reduced project funds. Proposition 1, street intersections, we are suggesting for Garnett and Florence intersection improvements to be unnamed as the change here. And then Proposition 1, street improvements, 37th, Dearborn to Rockford, project reduced scope down to $4 million. Proposition 2, name Fire Station 9 at $10.2 million, unnamed Fire Station 1 at $10.2 million. Proposition 3, no suggested changes. Proposition 4, no suggested changes. Proposition 5, downtown drainage improvements suggested for a named fund of $700,000. Indian Springs Second Edition drainage improvements for a named project at $500,000. Downtown drainage improvements as an unnamed project for $500,000. Drainage pond improvements along Aspen Avenue for an unnamed project at $200,000. The creek channel improvements at the various city parks, unnamed project at a reduced fund of $200,000, and an unnamed drainage improvement project at a reduced fund of $400,000. Proposition 6, no change suggested. Proposition 7, no change suggested. And Proposition 8, no change suggested. So keeping within the $415 million general obligation bond suggestion package. I will now leave it all open to you all for any commentary, questions, or concerns.
When is the deadline to know what we want to do, or what the total would be on the Proposition 8?
Actually, later this week, engineering construction team is meeting with the user groups. I think the amount that we would be asking the voters would be like $56 million. That's based on half a cent generating approximately $10.6 million per year. And so we hope to, later this year and well before January 6th, to have how that would be broken down by the different sports. And obviously, it's very important. I mean, if you remember, let me step back. If you remember, during the process that we went through last summer, each of those organizations presented their request on the improvements they wanted. Mm-hmm. So we're working off of their list. Okay. And so obviously, you may hear from some of them this evening, but when we come back to you, there will be, like I said before that, a list of how much we're recommending the council be included in that total amount that the voters will consider. So thank you, Shannon. And just to the last comment I have is that what we're ultimately asking for is really direction from the governing body with regard to the proposed package. And if council is in favor of this, then legal will finalize the the ordinances that are required by the Constitution and state statute to actually name and unname and put all the language in there that any reasonable voter going into the booth will understand what it is that they're actually voting for. And then you have to have a resolution that calls for the election. And so that's what you'd be considering on January 6th. And that's a couple of weeks ahead of the deadline, that's 75 days before the election. We wanted to get this, you could do this on the 20th, but that's like bumping up against, I think, the day before the deadline. And I know Vice President Parks, remember that back in 2014, that happened and didn't go real well. And so that's why we're trying to be in advance of making sure that should there anything come up, we still have plenty of time to act upon the package. So with that, I turn it over to you, and I know you have a lot of comments, and council may want to wait before you decide until you hear from those that are here to address the governing body.
Yep. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Shannon. All right, we have a good stack of citizens that want to speak. So we'll go with, the first one is Lily Hilligoss. Did I say that right? Okay.
My name is Lily Hilligoss. I'm speaking tonight in support of Agenda Item 9B, approving $4 million to help build a new South Broken Arrow Library. My Girl Scout troop meets most Thursday nights at the South Broken Arrow Library. We started meeting at Broken Arrow Libraries in November 2017. We've used the meeting room at South Broken Arrow 97 times. It would have been more, but with only one meeting space at the current location, if someone else has it reserved, we'd have to find an alternative location or cancel our meeting. It has been a great resource for us. We use the room at no cost. If we had to pay for another meeting space, even with a conservative $25 per hour, we would have to raise $2,425. That's 12,125 Thin Mints. While we have been meeting at the library, we have been able to research countries like Egypt, England, Japan, and Australia for our Thinking Day celebrations. We have earned badges like Babysitter, Democracy for Juniors, and New Cuisine, where we learned to cook eggs and we attended a canning lesson at the library. We also packed bags for unhoused people with personal items like socks, snacks, toothpaste, and toothbrushes. We also just planned a regional holiday party where we collected over 400 hats, underwear, gloves, scarves, and socks to donate. The South Broken Arrow Library is incredibly valuable to our whole community, and I fully support building a new and larger space to serve even more users. Thank you.
Very good. Good job. Thank
Yeah,
you.
good job.
Very eloquent. Thank you, Ms.
Yes.
Hilligoss.
With a minute to spare.
Great job.
Great job. All right, Don Teeve. Teeve.
Hi, thank you. My name is Dawn Teeve. I'm a homeschooling mom of 5 children. Ages range from 15 to 6 years old. We've lived in Broken Arrow a long time, since 2011, and we love going to the library. Our lives pretty much revolve around it. Have a few notes. So some things we do are, like, my kids will get obsessed with specialized subjects. Like my middle boy we've had to do this library research with our lovely librarians, hazmat suits, biohazard suits, tanks. We've checked out every book and we exhaust it, and we love the hold shelf. So it's real small now. We're hoping for a bigger one because 5 kids interested in multiple topics. I've maxed out the limit. Summertime, we get a bigger limit of books, and we've maxed out that too. Like, it's in the hundreds. So we've looked up inventions, Rube Goldberg, so many different things. When we go on road trips, we stock up on Hank the Cowdog. I don't know if you're aware of him, but audiobooks, we love that. So Hank the Cowdog is essential. The library is amazing with exciting opportunities, and I know you guys love the library, but I'm just giving you a snippet of my life. this is every day. So writing contests, the library will do that in February for my younger kiddos. There's drawing contests, essay writing, poetry writing. We love those. And my daughter even won one year. And she met all of you up here, and she received an award, and she donated the $1,000. They gave her $500, and then they said she could allocate where she wanted to give this other $1,000, and she chose South Broken Arrow Library because that is our heart. We love, let's see, we love our librarians. They are so important to us. I have 50 seconds, okay? I thought I couldn't get 3 minutes at all. Okay, what I'm looking forward to is Labs Makerspace. During the summer reading program, there's instruments like at the Central Library and things that I want my kids to go to. It's too far for me to go drag 5 kids, figure out parking, all this stuff. And you know South Broken Arrow is bursting at the seams. Every time we drive every day, we see something new is being built. We need this library. My son is currently the one that likes tanks and everything. He wants to build a 3D printed catapult, mini catapult. Oh my goodness. So anyway, we need like a 3D makerspace type thing for that too, because I just can't, it's not feasible for me to go every day. 4 seconds. Love you guys. Thank you so much.
Good job. All right.
Thank you.
Kimberly Johnson. You've shared already? Okay. Robert Schaefer.
Good evening. I'm Robert Schaefer. I'm representing Broken Arrow Girls Softball. Thank you very much for the opportunity to come up here and address the council on the GO bond issue. Just to start, before I really want to get to the Proposition 8, which is what I want to talk about, I think we need to give the opportunity to the voters to vote on the library system. My grandkids love the library. I know you're going to hear this quite a bit. We're not even part of the South Broken Arrow one. We go to the downtown one, but we love it. We need to give the opportunity for the voters to at least say we gave a little bit to help them build the building. So anyway, I'm going to move on before I run out of time. Thank you very much, Mr. Spurgeon and your staff, the Citizen Steering Committee, and all those folks that that did the surveys and came to the forum. I think this is a truly community effort to put together these GO bond packages. You got everybody's input. I'm a longtime citizen of Broken Arrow. I strongly support all of these proposed propositions, but the one I really want to talk to you about more is Proposition 8. I think this is a magnificent example of thinking outside the box to create revenue to make our sporting venues not only better, but first class. I think this would be perfect opportunity for us to get those tournaments that we're missing because we don't have dirt. We have dirt instead of turf. All the venues have certain little things that they need to do. I think this is going to be great for the city. With the proposed half-penny sales tax increase, I think we'll be able to see the projects and the upgrades happen at the parks sooner than later. As you know, with GO bonds, that could take anywhere from 6 to 8 years before we finally see something happen. Now, that's going to be narrowed down, from what I understand, to 2 to 3 or even less, which I think is an awesome idea. Not only that, instead of the citizens of Broken Arrow paying for these upgrades and projects with each one of these, I think the outside people, we're also going to have the outside people help pay for these things. When they come visit us for tournaments and such, they're going to be eating at our restaurants, staying at our hotels, buying things in the Rose District. That little bit of penny sales tax will also help pay for these facilities. Bottom line, I think the proposition should be on the April ballot and for the citizens to vote on. And as I said before, I strongly support all of the propositions, and I encourage you to include Proposition 8 to the bond package. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Can I just throw this something out there real quick?
Sure.
Before anybody else comes up here, looks at me like that. I'm not the Grinch who's trying to steal the library. I've seen several people shoot me looks. Again, I didn't say I was against the library. I said I'm just trying to put it out there what the people have brought to me. So I am not trying to steal the
He is
library. My
wearing
last
green.
name is Green, but I'm not the Grinch. Okay.
You
Now,
know, on
to you.
yeah, on your talk just now about the sports facilities, I ran into someone the other day and they're like, I can't believe Broken Arrow is trying to be like Kansas City, and are we ever going to get there? And I said, you know what? I don't really care about Kansas City. Our kids deserve better facilities, so let's do it for our kids.
Yeah.
If we bring people from other areas, then that's just icing on the cake. But
Yeah.
our kids deserve it.
Yep.
And adults. All the people.
Yeah.
Mainly the
adults.
kids
And
deserve it.
Speaking of adults,
Kids at heart.
Brad Gordon.
Kids at heart.
All right. Good evening, Council, Mayor. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the time to speak and talk about everything here. I'm Brad Gordon. I'm the president of Broken Arrow Adult Softball for several years. I do manage the Challenger Sports Complex, which is our newest sports complex, and it's the top notch with the synthetic turf. And then I manage the two softball fields at Indian Springs, which are one of the oldest fields we have, and it needs upgrades. So anyway, I just wanted to say that I've lived in Broken Arrow for nearly 40 years now, and this is probably one of the most exciting bond packages that I've seen. I support just about everything we see here. And Broken Arrow has just become, I think it's probably the fastest growing city in Oklahoma. We're like a race car. I'm a car guy, so I'm going to have that analogy. But I feel like these sports complexes that we have, this is a huge economic driver. And if you don't keep them upgraded with everything else we're doing, you know, the new amphitheater, the water tower, the way we've done the Rose District, we've just got to keep growing, and we've got to keep our facilities up to par, or we're going to get left behind. Mm-hmm. So I'm in support of the entire package, but I'm here to tell you that I'm in support of particularly Proposition 8, because we really need all these upgrades to our sports complexes. And I was just going to tell you, I can reference the Challenger Sports Complex. We just finishing up our 5th year. Tonight is our final night of the Grinchmas season. And, we run spring, summer, and fall and holiday season because of the synthetic turf. It eliminates the weather issues. We can run all the time. And it also, we have become an attraction outside of Oklahoma. And I was going to tell you that I met with the president of the National Seniors Association out of Florida. They came in today. I gave them the full tour of the Challenger Complex. They went to take a look at Indian Springs as well. They were going to TU, and they were going to look at some parks in Tulsa. But they are coming to Tulsa area in 2027. And they already told me today, we want the Challenger Sports Complex for our senior games. And it's not just softball, but they do track and field, they do pickleball. I mean, we got pickleball courts here, and so they do cycling. This is a massive amount of 11,000 athletes coming in here, 26 different sports that they'll play. They'll be here for a week, and it's during the summertime. So this is the kind of stuff that will attract outside entities like this to come to Broken Arrow by upgrading our complexes. You know, I'm in support of the soccer and the girls' fast pitch, boys' baseball, but I run the adult softball. But I'm seeing what Challenger can do, and we're out of space. So anyway, but I'm in full support, and I hope you put it on there for the ballot in April. Thank you very much.
Sir. Michael Yance.
Good evening. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Councilors, City Manager, thank you for this time. My name is Michael Yance. I'm the Executive Director of Museum Broken Arrow. I'm here to support Proposition 4. Part of that is hopefully an expansion of the Museum Broken Arrow that we have here on Main Street. Like Mr. Spurgeon, I'm going to take a step back so we understand why we're moving forward. The museum hasn't been on a bond measure since 2004, and in that bond measure is when we built the museum that we're currently at right now. Since we opened over 2 decades ago, we have hosted literally thousands of visitors from around the world for the sole purpose of sharing the history and stories of Broken Arrow. But there are more stories to tell, and I think we can do even more. Being director for the past 14 months, one of my goals was for the museum to be the center of activity. In doing so, we hosted almost 50 different events, including new educational programming, temporary exhibits, art shows, community fundraisers. We completed projects in our collections and our archives, and we're putting the finishing touches on upgrading our permanent exhibits on the 2nd floor. Our 3rd floor, which is our rental space, which is open to all Broken Arrow residents, hosted an additional 50 events, which included birthdays, celebrations of life, baby showers. We have a wedding coming up in a couple weeks, but was also the center of city activities like Shamrock, Spooktacular, the tree lighting ceremony, and all the city parades. We did almost 100 events while still being open 5 days a week with a staff of 4, and we're very proud of our success. But what I really want to share with you and we're excited about is our board this year has spent the time to build a brand new strategic plan. This new strategic plan, which is going to be voted on this week, has goals that rededicates our vision and our mission to share the history and to preserve the history of Broken Arrow. With this strategic plan, we have goals for the next 5 years, but it also includes goals for the next 10 years if the voters of Broken Arrow support the 2026 bond measure and expand the museum. What we'd like to say is an expanded museum gives us the opportunity to share more stories, share more artifacts, and host more events for the community. We're here to serve Broken Arrow. We're proud to be the heart of the Rose District, and we love being on Main Street. And I just wanted to let you and the city of Broken Arrow know that the museum has the plan and the people in place to make the 2026 bond successful with the votes. Thank you so much for your time.
Good job. Thank you, sir. Lori Lewis.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, City Manager Spurgeon. I'd first like to thank each one of you for allowing me to sit on the Citizens Committee for this bond. Charlie and Shannon did an amazing job. They had a space for us where we could review the plans, ask questions, and have discussions in a supportive environment. Shannon, thank you so much. Tonight, I'm here on behalf of Build a Better Broken Arrow. Build a Better Broken Arrow is a committee that the only time we work is when the City of Broken Arrow or Broken Arrow Public Schools has bond measures. Our job is to go out and help educate the public, but also to support the bond and being out there saying, voting yes. That is what we do. If there is not a bond measure, you don't see us, we don't bother you, nothing. So we're looking forward to 2026. Each one of these 8 propositions is important, but they're important for different ways. Proposition 1 with quality roads and transportation. All of us need that. We all need to be able to get where we're going in a safe way, but also in a convenient and fast way. While it's not as fun to probably talk about, stormwater and drainage are important. Our public safety, we have one of the safest cities in the United States of America, and by supporting this proposition, we will continue to do so. Public facilities and quality of life, that is why people love living in Broken Arrow. That is why people move to Broken Arrow. That is why people dream of moving to Broken Arrow. Without those propositions, we cannot continue to be the city we are, which, by the way, is 12th in the nation. The library. I love the library. I look at my fines as a donation to the library because I never get my things in on time. I consider it, I'm a humanitarian, really, when you look at it that way. I'm at the library every 2 weeks. I check out books, I meet people there. Sometimes I just sit there and read my book in the silence. I grew up on libraries, and libraries are vital to the growing community. The sports facilities. Sports tourism is the #1 tourism entity in Broken Arrow. Having families come here for tournaments is important. When you're a family that sports is your travel, that becomes your vacation. So coming here and spending time in our hotels, shopping at our small businesses, eating at our restaurants, walking through the Rose District in New Orleans Square is important. But I also agree with you, Councilor Ford. Our children deserve those sports facilities. So Build a Better Broken Arrow is here to support all 8 propositions. I encourage you to vote yes on all 8, and we are your partner for 2026 Go Bond. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks, Lori.
Travis Kelly?
I have a comment.
Yes.
Yeah, you can go ahead and come down. Not a comment about you.
Unless you want us to, Travis.
A comment about Lori Lewis and the Build a Better Broken Arrow committee. They are extremely important. A lot of us haven't been in a bond issue, or if we have, we haven't been where we had to see how it was come together. But they are the citizens group that brings it together. So you'll find out that it's illegal for us to do a lot of things as far as campaigning. And the Build a Better Broken Arrow group, and Lori would be great with that group, is always there to help sell our bond issue in the future. So I thank you, Lori, for being on that committee and for that committee. They do valuable jobs for us in this time of bond building. Thank you.
Mayor Wimpy, Vice Mayor, Council. Mr. Spurgeon, thank you for having me. I am Travis Kelly. I currently serve as president of Broken Arrow Youth Baseball. Let me tell you a little bit about Broken Arrow Youth Baseball. We're 54 years old, and at that 54 years, we've been the exact same facility since day one, with the exact same dirt, with the exact same fields. We have a wonderful facility that the city works extremely hard on. We work extremely hard on. We're very proud of it. We are a top-tier program. We run 1,000 players in our spring league, 600 players in our spring, and 600 players in our fall. We are the largest youth baseball organization in Northeast Oklahoma. We hold and host tournaments, not only USSSA, but National Championship, and we're looking at some others from the Midwest area. With Proposition 8, if we are able to get that passed with the voters, the upgrades that would happen at the ballpark would do amazing things, not only for our program and the community and our players in the community, but it allows us to become a destination. And with that being a destination, we can put heads in beds, we get people on Main Street, we get people shopping, we get people interested in coming to Broken Arrow for the sports with other amazing things to do. Sorry. I feel like with the growth that we have in South Broken Arrow right now, the things we're asking for, turf and simple upgrades to the parking lot, to the facilities that we have, would do nothing more than make us shine. We support Proposition 8. We have about 65 people that work for us, whether it be umpires, whether it be the youth. I can name about 150 kids that's the first job they ever had in Broken Arrow at 13 years old and 14 years old working in our concession stands. We're going to be around for another 54 years. It would be awesome if you guys would consider putting Proposition 8 on there. Our kids deserve it, like everybody said. Softball stole a bunch of my thunder, so I don't have much to say, but I appreciate the opportunity that you've given us. Thank you, guys, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Travis.
My daughter she worked in the concession stand as well. Yeah. All right. Justin Sharp, last but not least.
He looks mighty
I know,
sharp.
sharp-dressed man, might I add.
The last time I spoke in front of this body, it was unexpected, and I was in shorts. And Mr. Stevens called me out on it, so I figured I better step up my game tonight. But Mayor, Vice Mayor, Councilors, Mr. Spurgeon, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. I'm Justin Sharp. I'm the president of the International Association of Firefighters, Local 2551, the representatives of professional firefighters serving this community. And I want to speak on behalf of all the firefighters working here tonight. We're in full support of all 8 propositions, but specifically I want to address Proposition 2, and I want to thank this body and the city's leadership for listening to our concerns about Proposition 2. You know, I know this is a major bond package,
It spans over a course of 10 years. It was a concern of the firefighters as it came down to the end. It didn't look like Station 9 was potentially going to be able to make the cut. And we realize hard decisions have to be made sometimes. But in our position, just with our growing city, ever-growing calls for service, we felt it was really important that in the next 10 years, we looked at adding another fire station. So I really appreciate the meaningful conversations I had with a couple of counselors. I appreciate Mr. Spurgeon for having a couple of really meaningful conversations. And ultimately, the city was able to find a way to make that work, and we can get Fire Station 9 added in there. And while I've got a little time left, I will say, Build a Better Broken Arrow, come see me. We'd be glad to help. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. Is there any further discussion or questions?
We're just on like letter B, aren't we?
Do what?
We're just on letter B.
I know. I know we are. We're just on letter B. If there's no further discussion or questions, then
I'll make a motion to move forward with our 2026 GO bond.
Second.
As amended, as brought to us tonight.
With the changes as recommended?
As recommended.
Right.
Yes. All the recommendations. Thank you, John. Thank you.
here we go.
Okay.
Get it? Go.
I didn't want another meeting, you know. $400,000 or 400,014 or 15 million is twice as hard as 200 million. And it took us twice as long to go through all that visiting and meetings and just unbelievable. So don't call us for a couple of weeks.
So at this point,
No
it becomes,
promises.
the things get handed off to Trevor and his team, and they'll put together legislation for the council. We'll make sure everybody has it as soon as possible to walk through it, because there is a lot, that, like I said, you have to make sure that any reasonable voter can go in there and understand what it is they're voting on. So he's got to walk you through the state statute and the constitutional requirements, which is it's a good conversation. It's very interesting how we have to get there. Anything you want to add?
No, you covered it, sir. Basically, there'll be a resolution, there'll be an ordinance, and then there also will be a separate resolution and ordinance for the sales tax proposition, but they will all be on the same ballot.
And that'll be our next meeting, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And if I may just throw this in there, for those who are going to come at us, voice your concerns on social media, we did not just vote to approve all these things and say that they are happening. We voted that it will be put out to the people for a vote, because I know that it will be said, oh, they just approved all that stuff without our knowledge. That's not what happened.
Well said.
They live under a rock if they don't know what's going on.
And it's been very deliberate in making sure there's full transparency.
Yes.
And that's why there's an additional comments. I mean, council, you've directed to give forward, but obviously what matters is January 6th. That's the day where you actually have to pass the ordinance and all the related legislation.
All right. Item 10, preview ordinances. 10A, consideration, discussion, and possible preview of ordinance number 3902. Trevor.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. The item before you for consideration is a preview ordinance. Among other duties, the City of Broken Arrow Fire Department is tasked with remediating hazardous waste cleanups, evacuations, and disposal of the hazardous waste. We currently do have a code that addresses these issues, and it allows for recovery of costs for these incidents, but because of some ambiguity in the statute, there is some need for clarity over the billing of our remediation of hazardous wastes and materials from outside the city limits and inside the city limits. So what we've proposed in working with Chief Moore is an ordinance that centralizes and codifies a process to recover the costs when our fire department does respond to a hazardous material incident. In addition, it also allows the city manager or his designee to waive in certain circumstances those fees as he would deem fit. But it also provides a mechanism for recovery of those costs when it's appropriate. So Chief Moore is here and is available to speak to any of the specifics as to the types of hazardous waste material calls that we get. My understanding is we've had some pipelines. I think you could have like tanker type trucks things of that nature. So with that, we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Do you have any questions? If we have any questions, we can probably ask Ms. Teague's son about hazardous waste and mitigation. And yes. But is there any questions, or do you need questions of the chief?
Well, I did have a utility reach out to me, and their concern was, you know, you call 811 to mark where they dig, and then if they dig and hit a gas line, then we're called out, obviously, to take care of business. And that was a concern to them, but what I told him is, you know, that if 811 didn't mark the lines correctly, then they need to go to 811. We shouldn't have to have the burden of the cost. So I definitely support this ordinance for our city.
Absolutely, Councilor Ford. And to your point, I mean, it can be various folks that could be responsible. It could be the person who had the accident or the person who was reckless. It can also be the entity that owns the line. And it could also be somebody who might maintain or has control over it. Maybe they're leasing it. So I think the important thing is, my understanding is it costs about $750 an hour for one of our trucks to respond. And it's not reasonable for the city to bear those costs because it's not our responsibility for it. So, well, that's well said.
Okay. And welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
All right. Any further discussion? Entertain a motion?
It's just a preview.
Oh, it's just a preview.
It's just a preview.
Okay. Just kidding. I do not entertain a motion.
Well, you can entertain a motion to set it for adoption at the next meeting.
Yes.
Oh, see, I can entertain a motion.
I'd make that motion.
And I'll second it.
Thank you.
Good job, Mayor.
Thanks.
Consider it previews.
All right. Item 11, ordinances. 11A, consideration, discussion, possible adoption of ordinance number 3901. Trevor.
Thank you, Mayor. The city currently has a disturbing the peace ordinance on file. It's come to our attention that there have been incidences of loud and unnecessary noises at what we've determined to be places of public assembly. Places of public assembly are basically defined as community centers, auditoriums, parks, event centers, lodges, clubs, houses of worship, and similar facilities. Typically, the issues have been arising with these places of public assembly that are within 300 feet of residentially zoned areas. Things have happened such as folks being able to hear noises with their doors closed and their windows closed for prolonged periods of time. And so what this ordinance does is it defines those places of assembly, as we've just discussed, and applies clear standards that says that if you are inside a dwelling unit and your doors and windows are closed and you can hear the noise for 10 minutes, then that's going to be a violation. And so it clarifies the enforcement parameters. It addresses those concerns over some residences that are close to these places of public assembly. And it does it in a manner that is content neutral. So we're not discriminating against anyone. It's specifically for that noise. One thing to note is the existing exemptions to the noise ordinance are not changed. So, for example, we had a question of, well, what if the Broken Arrow band was playing in a park? That's currently exempted under our noise ordinance. That doesn't change. So with that being said, I'm happy to answer any questions. This is requested for final adoption, and then there would be an accompanying emergency clause for your consideration.
Trevor, I do have I just was thinking about this today. So if there's an existing building, place of assembly now, they won't have to do it. But if they remodel, would they then have to also follow the new ordinance if they remodel after we adopt this?
So, in my opinion, if there is a place of public assembly that's within 300 feet of property that's zoned for residential purpose, that this noise ordinance will apply to that. We're not changing the zoning, we're not changing the use, we're just adding an additional clarification on what constitutes a disturbing the peace.
Thank you.
So, you may refresh me, I may have missed it in here. When you said you can hear it inside of a dwelling, is there a certain, what's that definition? Is there a decibel definition? Or, you know, I have really good hearing and I can hear a hum. Now can I go and call the police on them? Or does it have to be at a certain decibel level? I mean, because I can see that getting in the weeds there.
That's a great question, and it's always the issue when you're dealing with noise-type ordinances. So we did not go the route of having a decimeter or set decibels. The definition that we had for plainly audible is basically any sound where the bass, rhythm, or melody is clearly perceptible to a person of ordinary sensibilities. And so it's a reasonable person of ordinary sensibilities. So obviously, if you have some of these sound directional headphones that you can super hear things, that's not going to qualify. But if you're just a regular person and you're in your home and you're hearing with your doors and your windows closed noise for 10 minutes, the melody, the bass, things of that nature, then that would be clearly a violation.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance number 3901.
I'll second.
The motion and a second. Roll call. Item B is emergency clause.
Make a motion to accept the emergency clause.
Second. When it comes up.
I'm clicking, it's not doing anything.
You're stuck.
You made the motion, it says.
Okay.
All right. Item 12 is remarks and inquiries by governing body members. Any remarks?
I did attend a wreath ceremony on Saturday morning, and it was very well attended. It was at our cemetery here in Broken Arrow. They're about 25% short on wreaths. The mayor and I was talking beforehand, and she acknowledged that they're a little bit higher each year. So I think it's right under $20. But there was probably 25% of those veterans in our cemetery that did not have the wreaths. I don't know the solution to that. I just told them that I would bring that up for you. The person in charge of it is with the VFW in our organization down here. So
They will do. Wreaths Across America does a thing, I believe, at the beginning of the year where the wreaths are half off. So it's a great time to go ahead and grab, if you normally support Wreaths Across America, to go ahead and grab a good chunk of them then, because they are, right now, they're $17 a piece.
is that what it is?
And if you do it through an organization like we do through the center, that organization gets $5 from each wreath. So it is a great fundraiser, and it gets the wreaths out on all of our veterans' graves. It is really sad when we have 700 and something graves at Park Grove and only 400 get, like, how do you pick and choose? And really,
Right.
we're just grabbing wreaths and laying them down. So it would be amazing if we could raise enough funds to get all of the wreaths taken care of.
I know there's some businesses out there that support,
Yeah.
because our honor guard works with Walmart every year. They send they participate in Wreaths Across America, and we do a ceremony for them at the distribution center up in Oshaleta. And then we escort the semis through the county.
Yeah.
So maybe we can touch base with some of these organizations that participate as well.
Right, it would be good. Because it was bad. After the wreaths laying, I saw several, and actually people that I knew well. And you can't go get a wreath and lay it on somebody else's.
Yeah.
So
It's frowned upon.
they just ended up without a wreath, and I felt pretty bad.
Thank you for bringing that up. Anyone else?
I'll jump in, just say that, it was, the Civitans do an amazing job with our Christmas parade, and it was so much fun this year. Mr. Spurgeon, you and your staff and the city, I'll tell you what, it's hard to top a float that spins and blows out foam and smoke
bubbles
and all that kind of stuff. And just for a personal point of privilege on myself, so we always do the pancake breakfast with the Rotary. It was one of the largest we've ever had, where 300 people came through it.
That's awesome.
We got rid of all of the food. We are going to be able to contribute all of that back to our citizens and keep it in the community.
Good.
And then as well, just this past Saturday, with Shop with a Rotarian, Shop with a Cop, Shop with a Firefighter, to see all these kids and their smiling faces, it just really warms your heart about our wonderful community family we have in Broken Arrow. I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
It was large, riding on that float and looking down Main Street. It was just a mass of people down through there, so.
And it was a little cold.
It was great. I know, it was
We were
cold.
getting back to City Hall, and the parade was still going from the other end.
Yeah, yeah, it was
Pretty
amazing.
impressive.
They
That
did.
ride back to City Hall, I wasn't gonna take, as cold as it was.
They got a little touch and go on the sides too, because it was a
was really
wide.
cool. Yeah, is that right?
Yeah, so, no, they outdid themselves, as always, so, yes.
Enjoyable day.
Yeah. All right, city manager.
Well, you've all covered it all. The only thing I want to say is the water tower's not leaning.
Yeah.
Okay, that's, you know.
I don't know. I
Charlie
didn't see you get
proved
on
it.
top of it.
I don't know.
I'm sure.
You know, what was impressive about that video was the fact that Charlie didn't have a cue card in front of him. He actually memorized all that line, and so they made it even more impressive. So, no, just thank you to the council members. I appreciate your support tonight, and we've got 4 months to go, and I love all the questions, I love all the engagement, and that's a lot of words, so I have nothing else.
We did a great job at State of the
Yeah,
City.
it was amazing.
I know how much effort you put into that, and the communications team, and whoever else helps you with all the things. It was hilarious when Charlie was saying all those words. I had no idea what they were, and then the overlay of all these,
Yeah.
different math equations or whatever, and it's like, oh, thank goodness we have people in our city that are smart that can take care of all that stuff.
Yes.
It was
But
awesome.
You did a really good job at State of the City. Over 509 people.
Yeah.
Biggest ever. I don't know where we're gonna go when we outgrow Stony Creek.
That's James's problem.
Yeah. It's a chamber event.
No, I will say is that they worked very, very hard. They were incredibly diligent in growing it, because James's expectation is such, I believe, is the same as ours, is that we want people to be here to find out what's going on in our city. So,
Absolutely.
so next year, Mike Scrimpture will make a encore appearance. Okay, and I'm not saying you all might be on the stage at the amphitheater in some way, shape, or form, but we may be finding out your singing skills.
Oh,
You never
geez.
know. Never know.
There's a lot of elected officials that talk to me afterwards, and they're like, I mean, you may have talked for an hour. It doesn't seem that long, because there's so much going on. But they appreciated the videos that you did, like to kind of break it up, and
Yeah.
they really absorbed the information. I had several elected officials tell me that, so I want to make sure you knew that.
Thank you.
And that you did a really great job of making sure that you thanked everyone that partners with us all year long, our staff and everything. So, yep, it was all positive.
Thank you.
And a lot of words.
Yes.
Yes, so.
Hour and 27 minutes to be exact.
All right, we do have an executive session.
Make a motion to go into a brief recess for Bama.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Pickle,
Yes.
Green,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes?
Parks,
Yes.
Wimpy.
Yes. Call the Broken Arrow Municipal Authority to order. Roll call.
Pickle,
Here.
Green,
Here.
Ford,
Here?
Parks,
Here.
Wimpy.
Sorry, here.
How's that spelled?
Here. All right. Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda?
I'd make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as mailed.
Second?
Roll call. Excuse me. All right, there are no public hearings, appeals, presentations, recognitions, or awards. No general authority business. Remarks by governing body members.
None.
City manager?
I have none, Madam Chair.
There is no executive session.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Roll call.
Your motion and second haven't shown up.
Stuck.
There we go.
Okay. Call the Broken Arrow Economic Development Authority meeting to order. Roll call.
Pickle,
Here.
Green,
Here.
Ford,
Here?
Parks,
Here.
Wimpy.
Here. Let's see. Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda?
Make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Item 5 is public hearings, appeals, presentations, recognitions, and awards. 5A, presentation, discussion, and possible acceptance of the April through September 2025 Broken Arrow Economic Development Corporation biannual report by Mr. James Bell.
Well, good evening.
Evening.
Thank you for the opportunity to provide a brief biannual update on the work of the Broken Arrow Economic Development Corporation. This report covers April through September 2025. My goal here today is to give you a high-level snapshot of momentum, impact, and where we are seeing significant traction across business retention, attraction, workforce, and strategic initiatives. Next slide. Before jumping into our work, I want to quickly recognize my EDC team. This is a small but highly engaged and deeply passionate group of professionals. They serve in roles covering business retention, expansion, attraction, and creation, really supportive businesses. They also cover talent attraction, workforce development, and marketing and research. And I absolutely mean this when I say it. They are some of the best in the industry. Also want to note for BA citizens who are watching this presentation that the EDC was founded by the City of Broken Arrow Public Schools, and the Broken Arrow Chamber of Commerce. And we operate as a true public-private partnership funded by both the city and the generous contributions of private industry. So it's a true public-private partnership and a structure that is a tremendous strength and shows up in the outcomes that you're going to see today. So let's, next slide. We'll start with the big picture. As of December, we're actively managing projects totaling nearly $100 million in new capital investment into BA. These are already existing BA businesses that will create more than 100 new jobs. And those are high quality jobs paying above the county average. Additionally, we're working with 13 businesses that are actively considering Broken Arrow. These are companies with site consultants or representatives who've already visited BA or are in specific conversations with us, and who have not ruled out our city for location. This represents a potential of nearly 900 high-quality jobs and $1.3 billion in new capital investment into our community. And I promise this is only time today that I'll use the phrase $1.3 billion and then immediately move on. On the workforce side, we engaged more than 300 job seekers. We supported direct placements and saw over 10,000 visits to our job board. That reinforces that talent remains a critical piece of our economic development strategy. So these numbers reflect both near-term wins and a strong long-term pipeline. Next slide. We supported several major projects, including Zico's 200,000 square foot expansion, CSI Aerospace's relocation to Aero Forge, and a pending expansion that could add up to 60 new jobs, again, high quality jobs. We also advanced Project Sapling, which is a local company's multi-phase growth plan that positions Broken Arrow for up to 185 future jobs. And as always, economic development and everything I just talked about is either confidential, in progress, or both, and that keeps the job exciting and the PowerPoint a little vague sometimes. Economic development is basically speed dating with NDAs. Everyone's interested. Nobody can tell you who they really are yet, and it works out sometimes, and it takes years. But beyond projects, the team completed 46 business retention and expansion meetings and multiple site tours in close coordination with the City of Broken Arrow and the Oklahoma Department of Commerce. This consistent engagement is how we stay ahead of employer needs and protect existing jobs in Broken Arrow. Next slide. On the attraction side, the pipeline remains strong. We're advancing several high-value prospects, including Project Astro, which itself is approximately $1 billion, Project SAM, and others that align with Broken Arrow's strengths, and especially in aerospace and advanced manufacturing. We hosted site visits along the Highway 51 corridor, participated in the International Paris Air Show, and joined Tulsa's future Northern California marketing trip. These efforts have resulted in 13 incoming projects, 11 proposals submitted, and 3 completed site visits during this period. So this activity is not speculative. It's a serious interest in Broken Arrow as a competitive location. Next slide. Workforce and talent remain tightly integrated with our strategy. We reached nearly 3,000 students through career awareness events in the last few months. We hosted successful career fairs and collected nearly 500 resumes at one of the largest engineering career fairs in the country. Next slide. We also expanded the BMBA platform with stronger storytelling and digital tools to help employers and talent attraction. Next slide. As part of our entrepreneurship support strategy, we launched 1 Million Cups Broken Arrow. We've built new ecosystem partnerships and have begun laying the work for cohort-based small business programming. Next slide. Finally, Broken Arrow's Aeroforge Innovation District continues to move from vision to execution. We finalized key infrastructure milestones. The city is near completion on key infrastructure, advanced zoning and planning, and have officially announced, of course, CSI Aerospace as the first tenant, which is a major validation point for the district. Marketing, branding, and committee coordination are all aligned with the infrastructure timelines to ensure that we are development ready as interest continues to build. Next slide. And as a wrap up, I want to highlight the behind the scenes work that helps all this project activity move faster and land cleaner. During this period, our team stayed active in state and regional advocacy efforts. We participated in an important capital to community visit alongside the city and the schools. That included more than 25 Oklahoma State representatives who visited Broken Arrow. And while they were here, we spotlighted and toured Broken Arrow manufacturers like Arrowhead Winch, Rise Armament, and Zico. We also earned an International Economic Development Council Gold Award for our Grounds for Development publication, produced monthly retail reports, and completed targeted research requests for businesses and for the city. This is work that strengthens relationships, improves decision-making, and keeps Broken Arrow competitive. So in closing, this report reflects steady execution, strong regional alignment, and a pipeline that positions Broken Arrow for both immediate impact and long-term growth. So we appreciate your leadership and partnership and continued support, and I'd love to take any questions.
Can you go back to slide 7, I think it is? Right there. When you look at the highest traffic by city, look at who's above Broken Arrow and look at where Broken Arrow is at. That is absolutely amazing. That's not like we're comparing ourselves with Edmond, you know. We'll just go north, right? You know. But I mean that is amazing right there.
Yeah, good catch. All right.
Mayor, I have a couple questions. If I can, the first one's a comment, is that I see your team everywhere. And those visits and those events that they attend really develop the networking, and you create the relationship and the synergies that actually eventually brings people to our community. You talked about that. And so I want to say thank you, because obviously when you're going out there, you're not only representing the EDC, ultimately it's the city of Broken Arrow. And so I feel very good about the efforts your team is making to be everywhere they need to be to promote our community. So thank you. And you mentioned something that obviously there's a lot of discussion about it in social media, and that's non-disclosure agreements. Okay, and I want you to share what exactly is a non-disclosure agreement. And then I have a couple of comments, because I want to make sure it's clear, the process, because ultimately the EDC is there to actually work with companies, and there may be a need, but ultimately when the information comes, the council gets everything they need to make a
That's right.
decision. So could you talk a little bit about NDAs?
Yeah, so the NDAs come about in economic development because many companies don't want to be known during a good part of the process. The reason, and they even work to go further with site consultants, which I call these mysterious agents who sit between us and them. So many times we don't even know the company that's approaching Broken Arrow. We find out what industry we're in, we find out the jobs, the site requirements, what land do they need a building, and so on. And we start the conversation there, but at some point you get to actually meet the company. And this is important for a number of reasons, especially if you have a larger company. It more often happens with them. If you have a large company that comes to town, say they're doing manufacturing, they could simply be opening a new manufacturing facility for a new product line. But if their employees in another manufacturing facility around the country hear of that, they sometimes get scared, naturally, right, for their jobs. Oh my goodness, they're moving our jobs. The other thing that can happen, though, is perhaps they're opening a new product line and they don't want their competitors to know about it. So there are a ton of reasons why they do this, and as a result, we have to operate under non-disclosure agreements. And like I said, sometimes we don't even know for quite some time. But we do our due diligence and, like I said, eventually get to meet the companies and work through the full process. Did that fully answer?
You did, and also the only thing you didn't mention that if you don't execute those, and you hit the is most important to me is that sometimes they're looking to relocate, and so it could create a morale and operational problem if it was made known that they may be looking to relocate, and then secondly is. At some point, if there is an opportunity to move forward, this council will never make a decision without having all the information in front of them with regards to that company, the jobs, the benefits, especially if there's some type of assistance that's being requested. Because for somehow it's being construed that an NDA means that the council might be making a blind decision, not knowing who the company is. If they're asking for some type of incentive from the city, they know nothing about it, and that's simply not the case of an economic non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, the city, when it comes time for incentives, certainly knows who the company is and knows everything about them and their intent. And it would be impossible to do that agreement without knowing that. I wouldn't recommend it.
I didn't know if any council members had read or saw any of that from a neighboring community, but I just want to make sure that that process is as soon as I know, council knows. That's because obviously you make the ultimate decisions on any type of assistance that we may provide. Thanks, James.
Thank
Hey, no
you,
problem.
sir.
I might be next.
You are next, so just stay tuned. Okay. So no action needs to be taken there. Item 5B, presentation and discussion of the Broken Arrow Chamber of Commerce 2025 Best Practices Trip to Franklin and Murfreesboro.
Well, hello again. It's been seconds. First, before we dive in, I want to start with gratitude. I want to thank each of you for participating in this year's Best Practices trip and for fully immersing yourselves and being fully engaged. It's incredible that the city of Broken Arrow, that not only the city council went, but a strong cross-section of staff leadership. And that level of participation matters, and frankly, you don't see it in a lot of other cities. It elevates the experience as well as the takeaways and gives you context, of course, for decisions that you'll make in the future. Next slide. The slide deck's wordy. I'm not going to be telling you everything in it, but as a reminder, the purpose of the Chamber Best Practices trip was to look at aspirational and near-peer communities and ask one simple question, and that question is, what are they doing that applies to Broken Arrow? The purpose of Best Practices is not civic tourism. It's to bring back meaningful learnings and then to get to work, stacked on them. The big takeaways from this trip was encouraging. Broken Arrow is on the right trajectory, especially in the next steps for downtown and city hall planning. workforce, and education alignment. The opportunity now is coordination, speed, and formalizing some partnerships with the chamber serving as a catalyst and convener. And we'll talk more about that. Next slide. These trips matter because they compress years of learning into mere days. They help align leadership, spark ideas, and lead to tangible outcomes. And just as importantly, they strengthen relationships among our own leadership. These trips save us from having to make all the mistakes ourselves. And the nice thing about a best practices trip is that we get to steal great ideas openly, legally, and with permission. But this isn't about building. This is about building the next best version of Broken Arrow. It's not about copying what another city does. And so we take that information, we synthesize it for ourselves. Next slide. Before the trip, I walked through these goals with you. What we heard consistently in Tennessee reinforced why we went. City Hall strategy, downtown master planning, workforce alignment, and education partnerships are deeply interconnected. And the communities doing this well are very intentional about that integration. Next slide. This year we chose Franklin and Murfreesboro. We chose them very intentionally. They are suburban communities near a large metro. Between them, they have a strong university, a municipal airport, active downtowns, and similar cultural dynamics. In other words, they're not theoretical comparisons, they are practical ones. Next slide. One of the strongest lessons was the importance of long-term thinking and civic decisions, perhaps on the order of 3 decades, 30 years. For Broken Arrow, the key opportunity is using City Hall, not just as a building, but as a catalyst for district growth and for ongoing downtown development. Next slide. We saw a strong emphasis on plain language communication through online portals and the need for education of residents, employees, and elected officials. Broken Arrow already does many of these things well. The opportunity here really is expanding digital education tools to further build understanding and trust around major initiatives. Next slide. Successful downtowns consistently build or blend residential, retail, office, and civic uses. Density supports walkability and supports retail successes. For Broken Arrow, this reinforces the importance of thoughtful mixed use, evaluating Rose District expansion, and telling our story better through both physical and digital placemaking. Next slide. Education and workforce alignment was one of the strongest themes of the trip. Education is an economic driver. It's not a separate system. In fact, it's the foundation. The opportunity for Broken Arrow and the work that we do is to lean into partnerships with Broken Arrow Public Schools and Vanguard, with Tulsa Tech, TCC, and NSUBA, with the Chamber acting as a conduit between education and industry and scaling mentoring and internship programs. Next slide. We saw very intentional alignment between entrepreneurship, education, workforce, and economic development. For us, this highlights the promise of Arrow Forge, the role of speculative flex space, deeper collaboration with higher education and with K through 12, and continued evaluation of how assets like a potential municipal regional airport factor into long-term growth. Next slide. One of the most valuable outcomes is something you can't always quantify. We strengthen relationships with our peer cities, with schools, chambers, and most importantly, among our own leaders. This trust and shared experience accelerates, of course, everything that comes next. Next slide. Post-trip, we asked for feedback, and the feedback was clear. There's interest in more structured peer discussions, more focus on workforce and housing, and a broader participation next time, especially from business leaders, from education partners, and from our major employers. The good news is that the group felt Broken Arrow is well positioned relative to these communities. Next slide. This is where the trip turns into action. Surveys are complete.
I'm presenting to you now, and the third item you see on the screen has been completed as well. So we're now moving on to the steps that start at the fourth bullet point, and that's convening industry and education leaders and formalizing partnerships that can move quickly. Next slide. So to get into more specifics, what you see on the screen are some immediate practical next steps we can take, some of which are already underway. Whether it's business roundtables, deeper engagement with our Tennessee counterparts, convening schools and industry, and refining what the next trip looks like in order to maximize participation, value, and actionable learnings. So I'll close where I started. Thank you again. Thank you again for taking part in this, and for the city for investing in this kind of shared learning. This trip confirmed that Broken Arrow is on the right path, and now the work is about execution, and I'd love to hear any questions.
I always enjoy going and getting little nuggets from each time that we go. But I feel like I come to the same conclusion every time, is that we already have a really great city.
Yes.
But it is good to go and see some things that maybe we can implement in the future. So it was a great trip.
Thank you.
Anyone else? No? No? Okay.
All right, great.
Well,
Thank you so
sir.
much.
All right, we have no general authority business. Remarks by governing body members.
I do have something, and I was actually going to keep him down here. But I was going to congratulate James. He made the power list, the 50 most influential Oklahomans for 2025. And that's pretty impressive. I don't know if we've ever had, maybe we've had someone from Broken Arrow, but I don't. You are? Okay, you're in the same league with Spurgeon now, James.
Okay.
Just a few years ago.
It was so impressive. I didn't get to see the whole list because I don't purchase the journal, but I didn't see anyone else from Broken Arrow this time. So I just wanted to publicly congratulate James. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive.
Especially since you just moved to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. Didn't take him long.
Fantastic. Well, I guess this is the last meeting before Christmas. So Merry Christmas, everybody.
It's the last meeting of the year.
Of the year, yes,
We'll
that too.
See you next year.
Yeah. Well, I'll see you around. City manager?
I have nothing, Madam Mayor.
Okay. All right. No executive session?
To make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Thank you all for staying and sticking it out. Let's see, some folks have exited the room.
All right.
Merry Christmas.
Entertain a motion to go into.
I'll make a motion to clear the room and go into executive session.
Second.